Sarah Backhouse for Hub Culture. I'm now joined by Thompson from NBC. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you, Sarah.
You've been at the Governor's Summit for the past few days, and what have your impressions been?
I think it is fabulous that the governor has brought people from all around the world to talk about what is possible, because so often, especially in this country, when we can talk about the environment, it always seems to be in a negative light in that what we have to give up, what we have to do without. And instead, I think there is certainly enthusiasm here, there is optimism here, and there is a sense that things can be accomplished, building off of obviously what has been done in California and in what is being done elsewhere around the world. For example, the declaration on reforestation that has been signed here. In Costa Rica, they have increased their forest cover from 25% to 55% in 20 years by paying people to not tear down forests, to turning that into a valuable commodity. And for the subnational leaders, as they call themselves, to get on board and say, we need to do this, we need to protect our forests and then reforest the land that we have destroyed. It's so important because it's the easiest way to create carbon sinks to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the air.
Do you think that these subnational governments can therefore influence federal governments?
Absolutely. You look at what's happened in this country. The whole climate change movement in America is a bottom-up movement, quite frankly. It has been cities and towns and states that are leading the way as opposed to Washington. They are looking for areas where they can agree, and I think you will see that, and more than likely on renewable energy portfolios. I'd look for agreements on the issue of reforestation. I think obviously the harder issue will be getting countries to agree to reduce their carbon dioxide emissions by a certain percentage by 2020. That's a real sticking point, and it's a tough argument now because the world economy is in such an uncertain state that the delicate balance of trying to grow your economy while reducing your greenhouse gas emissions is a difficult concept, I think, for people to understand. And some people see them as mutually exclusive, and they don't have to be. So that's going to be the bigger sticking point, but there are areas of agreement, and I think we'll see a great focus on that in Copenhagen.
That's an interesting one, that carbon and job kind of relationship, because in the UK, for example, Mr. Blair was saying that, you know, in that economy, they have managed to reduce carbon and increase incidence of green jobs. So we know it happens, and yet there's a kind of a disconnect that people are willing to jump on board and embrace it.
Well, and I think in this country, our economy has been through such great change, and we have seen the American auto industry, which was always the backbone of the economy, really suffer significant blows. And then if that goes to coal, which is the most abundant power source here in this country, which really has people concerned, what will happen to the people who held those jobs? Where will they go next? If they can solve the issue of carbon capture and storage, I call that the Google issue, because whoever figures that out is going to be richer than they can imagine, because everybody needs that. We need it in the United States, China needs it, India needs it, and that is the way of the future. And you don't solve the issue of greenhouse gas emissions without solving the issue of coal.
Wonderful. Anne Thompson, thank you so much for your
Sarah,
time.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. A pleasure.
Thank you.